Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and good morning for our colleagues in the Netherlands. So very happy to have another online learning on Wednesday. So for those of you who are just joining our session for the first time, welcome and thank you for being here. Also, first thing first, I would also like to say happy fasting and Ramadan Mubarak to all of you who are currently observing the Ramadan month, and we wish you a safe and a blessed Ramadan in this holy month. So again, welcome, and please let me know if my voice is actually good, and also my camera is yeah, it's okay. Then we can start with the session. Okay, thank you, Kasha. Okay, so everyone, my name is Amif Mitasari, as the student counselor of Nufik Neso Indonesia. Will be your host in the session. And yeah, so as all of you know already, we are going to have another online learning from Hanze University of Applied Sciences. This session will be community building and get a glimpse into innovative learning methods, which will be presented by Miss Dania Fang. She is an international account manager and learning sessions facilitator. So before that, we will also give you a little bit introduction about Nufik Neso Indonesia. Wait a moment, I will share my presentation. Okay, so yeah, here you go, our event today. Okay, so for those of you who are not familiar yet with Nufik Neso, we are a non-profit organization from the Netherlands. Our head office, Nufik, is based in The Hague, the Netherlands, and Nufik has representative offices around the world, and one of them is in Indonesia. So our representative offices is called NESO, which is Netherlands Education Support Office, and we are funded by the Dutch Ministry of Education, Culture and Science. So what are the activities that NESO Indonesia currently do? We facilitate NL knowledge through scientific research and even collaboration between institutions in Indonesia and the Netherlands. So, for example, we have annual event such as the winner, the Week of Indonesian Netherlands Education and Research, where education practitioner and a lot of stakeholders participate in this event to celebrate basically regarding our collaboration in education and research. Second one, we also support internationalization of education. We do this by promoting study in Holland. We also provide you counseling for free for prospective students in Indonesia. So if you have any questions regarding your study plans to the Netherlands, you can consult with us. The third one, we also manage scholarship programs such as STUNAT, Orange Knowledge Program, Orange Third Scholarship, and EU Share. But apart from that, apart from promoting study in Holland, we also provide information for Dutch students who would like to go to Indonesia to study, to do internship, or even a gap year through a program called Wilweg. And lastly, we also we don't forget the graduates, students who just graduated from Dutch University. We provide a platform called Alumni Network. So this is a platform where graduates, fellow alumni, universities can connect with each other, and we have a lot of activities as well for our alumni. Okay, so that's about it. Enough about Nufik Neso. But if if you do have questions regarding Nuvikneso and study in Holland, you can always contact us by reaching our social media, our website, and our telephone number and email address. But lastly, we also would like to inform you regarding our practical information. So we do have online counseling that we organize through Zoom. So you can always join our counseling during the schedule provided in the slide. You don't have to register for this. You can just access bit.ly/Osiniso. And then we already gathered all of the informations regarding study in Holland, as well as universities. So you can access them through bit.ly/dbnuvikneso to access digital brochures. And a lot of you also have a lot of questions, right, about study in Holland. So we also have compiled all of the questions and the answers as well. So you can just access them through bit.ly/FAQ. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening to the introduction. So here, just to let you know, because today we also have a special guest speakers, and not only Dania, but also Kay Putri, student ambassador from Hanze University and Applied Sciences, and as well as Kasia, Ekaterina Kuchenkova. Here they are already turning on their camera, so you can see them. So basically they'll be here to share with you as well a student journey, as well as if you have any questions regarding Hanze, about the topic or study programs at Hanze, just feel free using the chat box to submit your questions or comments. And either way, after the presentations, we will have a Q&A where you can directly ask questions to our guest speakers. So without further ado, before I give the floor to Dania Fang, I will read a bit short description about Dania Fang. So Dania Fang, a Master Science graduate. She is an expert in the international communication with an extensive experience in the internationalization research education at Hanze University at Science. Dania at Hanze has coordinated and led multiple big-scale projects in the fields of marketing and communication, like Geert Hofstede Consortium and MIC Masterminds. And having studied and worked in the intercultural setting, Dania is a modern learning sessions facilitator, hosting community building sessions, and providing comprehensive study advice to students, also helping them to grow professionally and reach their potential. So please welcome Dania Fang. How are you? Hi.
I will share my screen for my presentation. Get started here. All right, can everybody see?
Yes, perfectly.
Yep. All right, perfect. Okay, so thank you so much, Emmy, and good afternoon to all of you. Thank you so much for joining our session on community building as part of the Study in Holland Online Series. It is the end of the morning for us in the Netherlands, but for you, I know it's rather late in the afternoon. So, you might have had a busy and a long day. So I just want to start off by checking in with all of us and see what is the energy in this virtual classroom. So my question to you is, how are you arriving to this webinar? And you can let me know by choosing an emoji that presents your mood at this moment and share it in the chat. So let's go. I'm going to temporarily stop my PowerPoint presentation because I can't actually see what's happening in the chat. So is anybody posting chat? There we go. We have a couple of happy faces. Great. I am feeling pretty cool about this session. Anyone else? Okay, so a lot of happy faces. That's great. That's great. So let me just share again my screen. Oh, there we go. All right, so fueled by your positive energy, let's continue by introducing myself again in more details and my co-presenters to you. So my name is Dania Fang, and I was born in China but grew up in the Netherlands. I currently hold a position as International Account Manager at the Hanze University Applied Sciences. I have an extensive experience in the field of international communication, as Emmy already mentioned, and it is also truly a field that I'm very, very passionate about and just absolutely fascinated by. I've gotten my bachelor's degree in international communication and a master in international business and management. And that combination gave me a great holistic understanding and a blended insight into communication management. And that had really helped me throughout my career, starting as a coordinator for Gert Hofstede Consortium and later as study counselor and communications and marketing coordinator. Besides being the international account manager, I'm also facilitating learning sessions at the master program in international communication at the Hanze. So today's topic on community building will be my contribution. My co-presenter Kay has created an amazing learning experience for herself here at the Hanze, and you'll be able to hear more about her student learning journey later, where she'll be giving you more, a practical context to what we'll be talking about today. So Kay, I know that you have a slide later on where you'll be introducing yourself extensively, but would you mind briefly introducing yourself, please?
Of course, it's always happy to be here with fellow Indonesian students. Halo semuanya, selamat sore. Nama aku Kay Putri, and I'm currently finishing my undergraduate studies here at Hanze University of Applied Sciences in International Business. I'm currently already living in Amsterdam though, and I'm doing my thesis or graduation project, as we call it at Hanze, at the Heineken at the head office for Heineken Global Procurement. But I will tell you more about it in my presentation, as Dania already mentioned.
Okay, thank you so much. And last but never the least, my colleague Ekaterina, who will be joining our Q&A round at the end of our session. Would you mind also introduce yourself a little bit also?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Dania, for letting me join this session. I'm really happy and excited to join any sessions related to Indonesia. Is my favorite country. I shall be honest with you, and I cannot wait to hear Kay talking Bahasa Indonesia, because it's like this language always fascinates me. I'm also an international account manager at Hanze, and I'm a colleague of Dania. And Indonesia is one of my account countries, and I miss it dearly. Hopefully next year I'll be able to go there again and to meet with all the prospective and our students, future students in Indonesia personally. So I wish Dani and Kay a fantastic session today. I know that a lot of materials has been prepared for this. I will be in the chat, so if you have any questions about studying at Hanze or any other practical questions, let us know. I will be happy to help. Good luck.
Thank you so much. So I am confident to say that with this team, we'll have you covered for any questions you might have later. So let's get it started on today's topic. So the purpose of our webinar today is to introduce to you the concept of community building in education here at Hanze to get you inspired for your own journey as a student. So community building is a modern and new approach in transforming a student's learning journey and facilitating them to make the most out of their study time. So it's to stimulate students to have personal motivation for learning and interact with the content. It is deeply embedded in the educational concept of our University of Applied Sciences. And therefore, I will start by introducing you to the Hanze and our educational concept and vision. which forms basically the learning environment in which the community and the community building are fostered. Then I will zoom into a community building, what it is, why is it important, and how do we do it at the Master of International Communication program, for example. And finally, Kay will tie all these information together by showcasing her own journey as a student for inspiration. So also sharing great news, I think it's good to update you here, is that in the Netherlands, we have resumed our education on campus. So of course, hybrid education is something that we will continue to do. But I think in the sense of our educational concept, on-campus education is our priority, and also it adds more value to what we're actually trying to do here. So good news, we're back on our campus and together with everybody face to face. So, all right, giving you a brief facts and figure of Hanze University of Life Sciences, merged from various educational institutions of life sciences in 1986. It is one of the oldest multidisciplinary university applied science in the Netherlands, actually, and currently one of the biggest, actually the biggest, in the northern part of the country, in a cozy yet vibrant and innovative city of Groningen. Hanze is made up of 16 faculties, which offers in total of around 19 bachelor programs, 25 master programs, and 12 associate degree programs in almost all domains. So we're a big school. It also has about 50 professorships at which applied research is conducted at various research centers and centers of expertise. Our mission is to deliver skilled and committed professionals and conduct life sciences in order to prepare future-ready professionals. Integrated internships are part of all of our programs at both master and bachelor level. We're currently around 31,000 enrolled students, of which 10% are international students covering 115 countries. So just to give you an impression of what international programs that we're offering to international students, we offer 15 international bachelors and 13 international masters in 5 domains, where hands-on professionals and strategic thinking is greatly needed. So for almost all of the bachelor studies at Hanze, there is a matching and complementary master that you can follow after graduating. I'm not going to go into details, but it's handy to have this in case you have questions about them later. I will put this slide up again. So what can you expect for studying at Hanze? So here comes the educational concept. Our educational concept is to learn by doing. We aim to prepare students for a profession of their dreams, and we guide you to become professionals who are basically ready to hit the ground running upon graduation, to become strategic thinkers and leaders. Therefore, our education approach is also very practical oriented, and therefore the importance of resuming on-campus learning. So from day one, you will be viewed and treated as a young professional. How will you be practicing your role as a young professional? You will be working in international project groups on real life projects for real life clients. It will be challenging in all fronts. I will tell you that. But the great thing is all of your experience with this project, as well as your collaboration with your group members, will form a strong foundation for when you enter the workforce. You get to build on your CV and network in a professional setting throughout your studies. So this will give you that extra edge when you enter the workforce. You will truly have an international experience and gain a global mindset at Hanze. We have internships, minors, international exchange programs, graduation project built in all of our programs. We stimulate students to go abroad and experience and absorb and broaden your horizon, all while having us as your safety net. So university time, should be amazing and packed with life-directing experiences. So we aim to provide you the best environment and condition for that. This might sound a bit overwhelming, but we got you covered. The teachers at Hanze are experienced scholars, yet with bags of experience working in the field of their subject. They will have the role to guide you and coach you through projects, your student journey, to empower you to create your own path and strengthen your own identity and create your own personal branding. So when you get out there, you are, best version of yourself. And together with a team of academic and career advisors whom you can always reach out to, not just in case of when you need help or advice, but also just for brainstorming about an idea, for example, that you've had, or a business plan. Just speak up and reach out. And together, we're committed to help you to develop and also discover your own talent, which leads me to the next slide, which is to emphasize on our motto, which is share your talent and move the world. So Hanze differentiates from other universities by being the European engaged university, where learning and research are closely intertwined with the society. So in doing so, Hanze, we have proven being an important partner, not just locally, but also nationally and internationally in development of entrepreneurship, innovative and applied knowledge. So what does that really mean? Hanze is about making impact, and it's about working together to make an impact on Groningen and the world around us through innovation. So that means, there we go. It means collaborate with students, lecturers, researchers, professionals from different disciplines on real-world problems. By combining knowledge from various fields and show interest in each other's ideas, you can create an optimal solution to major issues. Many of the current challenges we're facing as society, such as climate change, healthy aging, digitalization, are complex and requires community of people from different backgrounds to work together in order to find solutions that will make real impact. Our education and research are closely linked to society. We believe that our students can make meaningful contribution to the world during their studies, and you will complete relevant individual and team assignment and look for these solutions to the challenges that we're facing as society. So these solutions will, not only help local areas such as Groningen, but their impact also resonate around the world. So there we go. That is about the dynamic and international city where you will be, learning and developing as a professional, and hopefully one day spread your wings. And finally, innovation. So our education and professional practice are brought together in the hotspots. So for issues such as entrepreneurship, energy, and healthy aging, we have already set up over, I think, 100 of these hotspots where students, lecturers, researchers, professionals from different disciplines work on real life or real world issues, collaborating on innovative solutions. So as you can see, working together in multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary teams are not only integrated in our way of learning at Hanze, but it's also, in our opinion, very, very necessary for today's society if we want to solve some of our biggest issues. And this leads to the importance of community and community building. So community building. So what is community building, and what are the key concepts? What are we talking about? One, the goal of community building is really to transform a group. So the word transform is very important. It's to create a positive culture and environment where participants feel comfortable to share and take risks. So it's not about leading the group toward the goal, but it's to transform the group so that when they get to work, they're never the same again. So how do we do that? The focus is on building meaningful connections and relationships. So once we feel safe in a group, we're able to just truly be ourselves, and tell people about any of the maybe the silliest but most amazing ideas that we've had. So so that is the focus of community building, is really to foster meaningful connections and relationships, and that gives us a format. So the activity and the program are really focused on conversation, dialogues, not one-way communication, but really a dialogue between two people and more people. Lastly, participation is always voluntary and driven by either the participants' involvement and commitment. It's not compulsory. So in that sense, engagement and having people feel connected to the topics that are dealt with in these community building sessions are very important. So what community will there be at Hanze? I think we've gotten an idea already. So when you start your student journey at Hanze, you'll come into what we call community of learners. Your community consists of all our Hanze students in a broader sense, but you can also narrow it down to all kinds of sub-communities like your class, project groups. Other than that, you might also be part of other communities such as student association, research group, Startup City, for example, which is our facility that helps students who have entrepreneurial ambitions to start their own company. No matter how big or small these sub-communities are, it's always overwhelming when you come into a new environment and you're meeting new people. And since you all come from different walks of life, you have different talents, perspective, knowledge, skills, experience, and network, you name it. So it's an amazing opportunity to tap into each other's world and to learn from each other, tap into each other's expertise. Maybe there's a skill, craft, or language that you always wanted to learn. Now that you might have somebody in your group who is able to, teach you that, get inspired by each other's ideas, ambition. You can support each other, helping each other make sense of what you're learning in your courses, help each other overcome difficulties. Sometimes even just simply knowing that you're not alone in your challenges is very comforting. Work, innovate, solve together, understand and appreciate your differences, so that you can work together more effectively and innovate together. Also, lastly, gain lifelong professional friendships that will benefit you through your personal and career development. Maybe this is where you'll be finding your business partners, your employers, employees. And this is what I hope to achieve together with students in my community building sessions that I facilitate. It's really to help students get the most out of their studies and their student time. And help them to build capacities that will really benefit them throughout their study and also in life. So there's different methods to facilitate the community building sessions, and I will give you an example of how I do it at the Master International Communication. So quick, background on what Master International Communication, MIC for short, is. So yeah, it's a 3-semester program, Master of Arts in International Communication. What we do there is we train students in 4 professional or communication professional roles that through our market research, these are the 4 roles that are mostly very much needed in today's society, which is corporate communication consultant, strategic brand manager, international change maker, international facilitator. Because we understand that we can, not prepare you for every situation, especially with today's issues that are so complex. There is not, you're not going from A to B in finding solution. Sometimes it takes you many detours and many collaborations with other people to come up with a plan. We focus on training you or to enhance your competencies so that you're prepared for this emergent future. So we focus on international and intercultural communication as a skill, critical thinking and research, problem solving, innovation, strategic thinking, and lastly, reflective professionalism. It's the MIG community. We have about 130 students currently covering 30 nationalities. We have a big diversity in their educational background in the disciplines that they have studied. We cover communication, business, management. Some have linguistic backgrounds, psychology. So you name it. So it's literally a melting pot of different perspective, expertise. And they also have different extent of working experience. So as you can see, it's a great community to really work with. At the core of community building sessions, it's really about having meaningful conversations with people who care, and together find solutions to common challenges that the community is facing, or making an impact on the issue that the community cares about. So as a facilitator, these are some of the things that that guides me through planning for a session. So number one is to determine the purpose of why we're really meeting. So not the what, but why. And when sometimes you ask people, why are we meeting today? They tend to state the activities. But instead, if you tell them the purpose, it might change how you want to plan the session and the activity. So it's always just really good to say, what is exactly the purpose? So beginning of this presentation, I have stated that this presentation is to really inspire you for your own student journey. And that has set the tone for the rest of my presentation. And then second, deciding on a suitable space. You might think, why is this important? It is very important because it also sets a tone, whether you want to do this session online or offline. So mostly, like I said, we have now done all these sessions offline in a classroom. It's planning of the classroom. How do you want to set it up so people feel welcomed and comfortable in having meaningful conversations with each other? Sometimes, you have sessions where I take the students outside. Fresh air does amazing things to relax ourselves. So all of these things you have to consider before deciding on the methods, exercises, and the tools. So my community building, for example, really focuses on helping students first to collectively establish a safe space where they feel belonged, and help them to connect in meaningful ways. And I do this, usually the methods that I decide on is to what I call conversation round, having meaningful conversation. And that is really about the art of asking the right question. And then I lead the rest of the, let's say the rest of the session. I use some of these open space technology. I know it sounds, really fancy, World Cafe, Marketplace, what are those? I will give you some of these examples in my next slide. But these are really of these facilitation methods that we use where people can sit together in their group, but also are able to rotate and start collecting and exchange knowledge with other groups, and then bring it back to their own group so that they can improve their own initial plans. So the idea really is what we do at the MIC is to, in the first semester, we focus on, like I said, building this community. So really establishing the safe space, building connections, and giving them the tools to basically empower them to basically send them on their way of gaining more control in what is going to come in the second semester and the third semester. And we do that with some of the themes. Some of these sessions, I do have a theme. So one of the themes is, for example, teamwork. Another thing is also, how do we give feedback. So the feedback cultures, because we're from all different backgrounds, we understand different things. So we understand things also differently. So how do we effectively give feedback? Another thing, sometimes, not sometimes, but another theme that I have recently worked with is for people to discover their own thinking styles, and that, you know, have influence on the way we communicate, with the way we fit in the group, our role in a group. So it's all very, very interesting. In the second semester, that is where the students will have more freedom and control in running these sessions themselves, what we call collective design. So they are really there to work on projects and to work on things that they're interested in. And the only thing that I do as a facilitator is to facilitate them through the process. And then in the third semester, where students will be doing their internships and working on their graduation project, they're really independent, and they're also, you know, well, what we consider working professionals. The community building sessions that we have is really to get together and share practice, what we call then the community of practice. So as time goes by, as you can see this line of transforming the group, due to the bond that they have, the group becomes more self-efficient and self-run. So these are some of the examples that I give. I don't have that much pictures that I want to show because, you know, as a facilitator, of course, I really try to be there, be present at the moment, because as a facilitator, it takes a lot to, you know, you have to observe, you have to keep in mind of many things. So, but these are some of the pictures that I have. For example, we have a World Cafe where people sit in their groups and they will be rotating to see what other groups come up with. And then we have, for example, having meaningful conversation. That is actually what I've mentioned. We've worked on this discovering thinking styles, and they're having this conversation about with each other, and reflect on their thinking style and what how that applies to their past and present. The last picture is a marketplace, which unfortunately I don't have a picture that involves students, but is a board where the students come up with their own topics. And then they go into groups and they talk about it. So I have received some feedbacks and comments from students. Some says, you know, it really brought me closer to other people that I normally don't interact with often. I really enjoy the topics and also the vibe, apart from the pressure of school stuff, which, you know, you will also have pressure from the school stuff. These classes are more like a getaway, that you can still pick up the new knowledge and mingle with others. And a couple of other comments, but I would say, yeah, that's really, I've reached my goal when students say, I've really felt belonged in this group and I can just be myself and learn and interact as I am. So here comes my last slide before I give my floor to Kay. So besides gaining valuable connections that will benefit you through your life, the concept of community and the way of community building will of course also give you transferable skills that are very valuable for your future. And I have a list of them, and this is only the list that I can come up or think of. So leadership skills, if you're a facilitator, if you are initiator of a community building session, if you're active, then you automatically take on the leadership role. And as leaders, you know, you have to reflect. You'll have to be able to reflect. You have to you train your decision-making skills, managing skills, and also organizing skills. And the second, it's teamwork. Being part of the community, and in these sessions, you really learn how to work in multidisciplinary. So people from different disciplines, you learn to work in that group, but you also learn to work in interdisciplinary groups where you are able to connect everybody together and work on one solution. It of course will work help you to build your social skills. Social skills, so what it really means is in the sense of community building is really being or gaining awareness and sensitivity to other people, learning to read other people, learn to read nonverbal, body language, be sensitive to little facial expressions and things like that, because you want to, you are part of this safe space. So you have to be aware and sensitive to others. Another thing is communication skills. We're all great talkers sometimes, but we're not always actively listening to others. And from these community building sessions, I personally really worked on my active listening skills. And sometimes from just listening, you can gain so much knowledge, and therefore you're able to ask the right question that will lead to a more productive conversation. So, and it's also learning how to give constructive feedback. Next one is facilitating skills. You will be able to facilitate meaningful but also really productive discussions. Some of these discussions are very challenging because once, when we talk about meaningful and meaningful conversations, we're also tackling sometimes difficult topics and also sensitive topics. So it's about generating, let's say, a positive controversy, and how do we maintain this positivity among the contributors to these conversations. Last three is problem solving skills. You're constantly having to think out of the box. Sometimes these sessions, they don't really have let's say a agenda, because the group, it needs to, the group is self-run, so they sometimes they will come up in middle of an exercise where you're gonna, as a facilitator, through observation, you're gonna say, hey, that is actually a problem that we should be dealing with, or you should be dealing with, and not actually what we're working on. So there is sometimes kind of constant change of plans, and you have to be flexible, and so you have to stay, thinking out of the box and innovative thinking. Technology knowledge, you have to keep the community intact. So and in today's world, everything is online. So we're talking about social medias, newsletters, online platforms that will stimulate people to engage more online or with each other. So we're talking about knowledge about all online tools. And lastly, analytical skills that I think will came also through all the other skills that I mentioned, is why an analytical skills. You're getting constant feedback during every little exercise, during every conversation. And these are shown through, of course, behaviors of your participants. There's certain patterns, and sometimes these are feedback to you on how do you want to continue with the session. So you have to analyze what needs to happen, and also lastly, that the data that I added will also contribute to the analytical skill, which is if we're talking about social media, we're talking about technology and online platforms that you'll be working on. For example, as a community manager, you should be able to analyze also how many people, for example, have interacted during today's session. What are the data? How many clicks are people clicking before they log off, and those kind of things. So you should be able to analyze those data as well. So, all right, I think I have kept everything, or at least said everything I want to say, and kept it in time. So I will pass the floor to Kay to introduce her student journey, and I hope she will be able to, through the examples that she's giving, I hope she will be able to tie everything that I'm saying together for you in practice, let's say. So Kay, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you, Dania. It was a very insightful presentation, and I'm I think I always say this, and I'm gonna say it again. You're always learning, even though you have a job, 30 years of experience. There's always something you learn, for sure. And you can go to the next slide. So yeah, so I'm gonna introduce myself. My name is Keputri. I'm originally born and raised in Indonesia from Jakarta. I'm currently finishing my undergraduate studies in international business at Hanze University of Applied Sciences. I already finished all of my courses, and now I'm in my graduation project period. So I'm going to tell you about that more later, but I'm also a student representative or student ambassador here at Hanze, and I'm going to share my experience and also my student journey with you, and hopefully it would give you some insight about studying in the Netherlands, studying at Hanze, and the activities that you could possibly do during your studies. Yeah, next. Next. Yeah, okay. So before going on to telling you my experience doing my internship at Friesland Campina and my graduation project at Heideke, I already worked in real projects during my time at Hanze. So I'm gonna guide you through it. So during my undergraduate studies, I did this entrepreneurship class where we have to come up with like a business idea. So me and my 5 other friends, we decided to come up with a wise packaging, which is a sustainable packaging for food deliveries in Groningen. And Hanze University really supported our ideas, and they even give us the platform to pitch this idea to possible stakeholders and the people that we couldn't possibly do by ourselves without the help of Hanze. And I think it really helps us in terms of our communication skills, stakeholder management, as Dania already mentioned before. Sometimes we talk a lot, but then sometimes we have to practice to get our point across to the other people. And also I work with my team with CX Services. So it's a customer service company in the Netherlands, and they wanted to open a branch overseas, but they don't know which market that they want to go to. So me and my other friends, we decided to did a research for them as an independent consultant and present the results to them. And they eventually implemented our ideas. So even before you begin your internship journey and your graduation project, you already have lists of projects, real projects with real clients that you already did. And regardless whether you want to do your internship in the Netherlands or in other countries, it will really be something that's attractive to the human resources or talent acquisition people. Next. Yeah, next, Dania. Yeah, so besides my studies at Hanze, trust me, during my studies at Hanze, living in Groningen is not all about, just studying academic life, although it is, of course, my primary reason why I go there. But making connection, getting to know other people is also really important. So the activities that I did besides my studies at Hanze was that I was a student ambassador. So I joined a lot of education fairs, open days, get to talk to prospective students, sharing my experience. And I also had the opportunity to have my own talk show where I talk to the alumni, sharing their experience, and interview the mayor of Groningen, which is for me is something that's it's an honor, and I'm really into public speaking, so it's really something that I really can put in my portfolio. And I was also a former chairman for Indonesian Day 2020, so it's part of the Indonesian organization in Groningen. So you really have strong bond not only with school but also with other Indonesian students in Groningen, in your city. And I also host a dialogue with the ambassador Meyer Vas. He's the Indonesian ambassador for the Kingdom of the Netherlands, where I asked him about his experience as well and how he managed his job overseas, talking to Indonesian people who live not only in Groningen or in Amsterdam, but in the whole Netherlands. So that was also very interesting. Next, Dania. So as Dania already mentioned, that at Hanze, we have this internship program where you have to go do your internship for 5 to 6 months. And for me, I did my internship for Friesland Campina, which, as you may know it probably in Indonesia, Friesland Campina is the parent organization of Frisian Flag. And I was working within the global category procurement department. So maybe you're wondering, what is procurement? What do I actually do there? Well, I work managing the contract management and also leading negotiation with suppliers. I also did a lot of internal financial analysis to help my managers to create long-term strategy and also finding opportunities for savings and value-add opportunities. And I also work a lot with data and spend. So during my internship at Friesland Campina, I did a lot of data analysis, and I really improved throughout my internship. And I also help my managers on the supplier relationship management. So we work with our global suppliers, and we work to maintain our relationship, evaluating the performance that can be improved, and also finding opportunities, project opportunities that we can do in the future. And of course, again, in procurement, stakeholder management is really important. And I was actually planning to stay in Campina because they asked me to. But unfortunately, I had to leave Campina because another opportunity, something that I just cannot resist, came out. And next, Dania. So yeah, Heineken approached me and they asked if I will be available to do an internship / work at the company. And it's like kind of similar at what I was doing in Friesland Campina. So I was like, well, okay, let's explore the opportunities out there. So now I'm currently working and doing my graduation project at Heineken. I'm actually responsible for one of their biggest program in 2022, which is the Global Outsourcing or Fulfillment Program. So we want to improve the current program to be better and to find out the key improvement areas that we can be implemented globally, which is in more than 40 countries. And as I mentioned before, in Friesland Campina, I work on the supply relationship management, helping my category managers on managing the suppliers. And now in Heineken, I'm actually responsible for the supplier relationship management project, and I'm creating a lot of documents, data analysis, etc., that can be implemented in all operating companies or markets. And yeah, I also coordinating the current global POSM innovation, which I will show you what is POSM, what is premium and gifts, and I'm also helping I'm helping Heineken in terms of the risk mitigation, again with data and spend analysis and forecasting, especially with the current climate, as we already know that is going on right now. Next, Dania. Yeah, so what do I actually do here in Heineken is that I'm actually working with our global suppliers to make sure that all this merchandise materials, premium and gifts are available in the market globally. So coasters and then bar support materials. We ensure that all these supplies are arriving on time, the quality, and all things that we agree on with our suppliers. So it's very impactful and also very crucial for our business. Next. So I mentioned to you about the projects that I did at Hanze while studying, and then the activities that I did besides my study, and even how can I get a company like Heineken to approach me to come work for them. So what I did, obviously, and I'm still doing it, is the networking activities. As you may probably have heard about LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is actually very important because it's basically like social media or platform that you can share your resume in there, and then then recruiters will see it and see if you're going to be a match. And then sometimes you get approached by companies, and I think that's really important. And also, I know that, like, for example, me, I really like public speaking, but I know like not everyone are as talkative as I am, which is totally understandable. Like, for example, I cannot do design, I cannot draw. Like, my hand will shaking if I have to draw something. But I think something really important is to work on your elevator pitch. So it's like 1 minute pitch explaining about yourself, and it's really important to present yourself and your idea in an efficient way, and also open to new opportunities. And of course, Hanze University will accommodate you. Like I previously mentioned, when I did the project with my team for the wise packaging, we wouldn't have had those pitch with stakeholders if it wasn't for Hanze, and how Hanze really encourage us to go with this project. And all the lecturers and academic advisors at Hanze, they're very helpful and they're very friendly. Like when I was applying for my internship, I actually asked like many lecturers and teachers at Hanze that never even teach me before. I just send them like an email. I say that I find you really interesting, and I know that you have long years of experience working in the specific sector. Can I grab a coffee with you? And they're like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So everyone at Hanze, they're all team player. We're all helping one another, because we realize that, you know, if you want to succeed in doing something, you have to share it with people, and you have to ask people for the opinion. And again, at Hanze, we apply the we mentality, which is, like I said, we're all a team player, like Hanze slogan, sharing talents and moving the world. And that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kay. I think you've given a really nice context in where my material or about the community, about the concepts, educational concept fits in, that it really provided the environment, or gave you the opportunity to do all of these things. But most importantly, you also worked really hard, and you two really took all of the chances by both hands. So so congratulations on such a beautiful journey. And so the main takeaway of today, actually, tying up everything together, is for you to start thinking today. What career do you want? And those kind of things might sound a bit overwhelming to at this point, if you're starting your bachelor program, but maybe focus on who do you want to be, and where do you want to be, what goal do you want to reach, and what and who do you need in order to achieve them. So really map out your ideas, and go into your university time prepared, yet stay flexible and open-minded. We have this environment, we have the community, we're all in this together, and when you have this mapped out ideas, you're able to much more effectively approach people when you're in need, and speak to, like Kay said, you've reached out to teachers who actually have not taught you. I think, not a lot of our students will come up with that idea, and also have the courage to do that. So so that's just only to give you a little bit of an example of how things will work out when you do reach out, and when you do really use your network, basically, that we have as well. So self-reflection is also important for a successful study journey and a career development. And the reason why I say this is that, without reflecting on the steps that you've taken, you are going to have trial and error during your study journeys, and only by reflecting on your past experiences, you'll be able to improve and map out your next successful steps, and that's also what we're trying to hopefully will create more awareness by this with these community building sessions is to enhance your reflective skills. Hanze will, of course, facilitate you for your career development, like Kay has also mentioned before. But like I have, said to Kay, that she has really taken her responsibility as a learner to make the best out of her study. So that's a takeaway that we want to give you, is that we have the tools, we'll give you the tools, but it is really your responsibility to really get the most out of your study, and be active in the community, because networking is essential in anything right now. Network will get you inspired by other people's stories, get you to the person that you actually do need to talk to, the person that will get, that will be able to make things happen for you. So, again, once you become part of this community, use the community and be active. So yeah, that's the main takeaway that I want to share with you. Next slide is where we would want to invite you actually to one of our Hanze talk show. Where the teachers, this theme is focused on teacher talk, who will be able to give you another context and even more context to what we have talked about today. And you will be able to actually see the teachers and ask questions. And Kay, I think, is the host of this talk show, right?
Sorry, no, I won't be hosting the talk show, but one of the students at Hanze.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. You have hosted our
previous
previous talk shows, yeah. So, yeah. Please feel free to join. We would love to see you there. I will be actually one of the guest speakers there as well. So take out your phones and scan the QR code, and yeah, hopefully see you there. Also follow us on social medias, where you will get more inside information on group projects students work on, all of the activities that we have at Hanze. If you scan the code, that will lead you to our Instagram account. And I think now it's time for Q&A, right?
Yes.
We're a little bit over time.
Yes, thank you very much, Dania and Kay. What a very insightful presentation, as well as, it's a good example from Kay, you can see from her journey till now, until the graduation project. So you can see it's very, the importance of, community building is very, very important. Basically, and I think it's not always only applicable for only students. I think everyone can also take from this new learning. So okay, so if you maybe I will ask Dania and Kay first, and Kacha, if you still have some time after this, or for Q&A. Then we can leave like maybe 5 minutes or so, and then we'll see if if any of you have any questions for our guest speakers today. Feel free to do so, to submit your question via the chat box, as well as using the microphone. Feel free, because this is the perfect opportunity for you to know more, to get to know more about the Hanze and about the topic we have today. Okay, so we have questions from Melissa. Do you have any tips or tricks for introvert students, high school graduates, to start community building? Okay, so who wants to answer the questions?
Well, I can start by comforting you and by telling you that you will not only be the only introvert students. We have actually many, and in many of our sub communities. And I always say, just come as you are, and you don't, you are who you are, and you come in And this is the whole part of the learning journey, is for you to develop yourself. You don't have to be anything other than yourself. And slowly from there, with the safe environment, you'll be able to develop yourself into somebody that you do want to be, or you would aspire to be. So it's just start slow, don't stress out. I think that's the number one, well, not trick, but more of a comforting tip for you, is there's nothing wrong with being introvert. Katja or Kay, do you have any tips?
Yeah, and maybe I can share my own experience. Well, I'm extroverted, severely extroverted, as you guys know me. Like, I have another extremity in that. But I do have quite a lot of students that I mentor and coach who are introverts. And I love working with them because they have such a fantastic qualities. They're more like thinkers, in-depth analyzers, and you can learn so much from each other. I think that's what Dania also said, that's a great exchange moment. You can always find an extroverted friend, with the high level of energy who can really steer you around. And you will be also a great addition to that community with your qualities. So it's always a nice exchange and like contribution like of all different talents. And I think I would like also to mention one more thing about safe environment and how important it is for your learning journey. In the very beginning, Dania also mentioned what you should expect from studying at Hanze, for example, is that we have like coaching and guiding lectures. So that creates also this friendly and safe atmosphere, and to be who you are and to express yourself in the ways that you want to be expressed. I think maybe Kay can support also, because she's a student still and she has all this experience built up. Well, even indeed reaching out to teachers who never taught at your class, Kay, and having also introverted classmates, I can imagine. How would you describe that atmosphere between like the lecturers and the students and other classmates?
Yeah, I think one of the things as well that I really, really love about Hanze is like the interaction between the teachers and also the students, because we really do have a more personalized and closer approach with close relationship with our teachers. Like, for example, when I was applying for my internship, I asked 4 teachers to write me recommendation letter. And of course, it's like, and within such a period of time, I just got to know them in like 1.5 years, and they already can give the words to people about my skills, my talents. And sometimes recruiters do call them and ask about, my skills in class, how I interact in class, and they really know me, and they really can vouch for me. So those are like the things that I really, really like about the holistic approach at Hanze, and that teachers at school, they're not only have like PhD or master degree, but they also have like years of experience working in the specific field. So they know like the struggles of finding a job, the success of finding a job. So they really, try the best for the students, and I love them about that.
If I can just add like the final concept, something that I want to say finally, is Katja has also really mentioned something really important about the qualities. I think indeed introverts versus extroverts, we all have different qualities, and the beauty is to find somebody that will complement your qualities. Introverts are deep thinkers, and they can be very analytical. That's something that they have great analytical skills. They are actually well, I'm slightly very introvert as well, depending on
Situation.
My surrounding, I guess, my community. But that the idea is everybody has something to bring to the table, and it is to find your partner, or find a person that complements you in a way that it will be able to, help each other more effectively. So yeah. That's what I want.
Maybe also to just the last touch, because I think Melissa asked about like a practical tip how to start a community. Well, maybe baby steps, started online. Kind of that also gives a little bit of a distance from people if you feel more comfortable. Maybe you already know such a community, such a internet environment is Discord. And that's a perfect way also to create your own community on any topic. You can check, Hanze has multiple communities on Discord as well. It's mostly, I think it was initiated by the gamers. So gaming people, they have like always community there, but it's also the way, to interact in your own pace, like in your own kind of time, in your own kind of way, how you want to be, to interact with people. So start slowly with baby steps, maybe creating some small community over there, and then attract people there and, discuss topics that are important for you.
Yeah, I hope that answer your questions, Melissa. Very comprehensive. And yeah, I would have to agree with both of you and Kay as well. Yeah, I mean, both introverts and extroverts has different kinds of qualities. So you don't have to always compare between yeah, both of you.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, you always have something to offer for everyone, and everyone can always learn from each other. So yeah, I think yeah, if you know, sometimes it is also important where you are actually with whom you are actually working on working with. So it's actually also yeah, learning from each other, and then to learn which environments you are working at. So you really have to see, and you cannot always use the same strategy or tactics within each environment. So yeah. Okay, so very happy to have you guys here, but I think we have to wrap up this session. So if you still, for the participants, if you still have questions about the topic and yeah, about the Hanze in general, maybe one of you can also share your email address or contact details, so they can contact you directly after this session. So yeah, feel free to share social media channels, or yes, I'm sure that some of you already screen captured the information about your social media. Anyway, okay, yes.
Love it that Kay is sharing her LinkedIn account. Community building,
Exactly.
in action.
Yeah. Yeah, so starting with the connection, right? With the
Absolutely,
networking.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so just add Kay Putri, and maybe to search Kacha and Dania in LinkedIn as well. Maybe you can,
We're on there.
who knows, right? All right. Well, I have to say that it's really been a very fruitful discussion, everyone. And maybe in another session we could have another interesting topics. Yeah, it doesn't have to be communication, but with other topic as well. But always happy to learn something new every day. So yeah. So with that said, I would like to again thank you for our guest speakers, Dania, Kay, and Kasia, for being here, as well as the participants. And yeah, I think we can just close this session, and then if you still have questions, they already provide you with a email address. So yeah, so thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you,
Well,
Amy,
have a
as
good
well.
have a good day for you guys in the Netherlands, and have a great evening for everyone here.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much for
much,
hosting
Amy.
and having us.
Thank
Okay,
you. It
Thank
was
you.
great working together again. Thank you so much. Have a nice evening.
Good
Thank
evening.
you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.